Hey, welcome to Wolf's Watch. Hope you're having a marvelous Monday. I am Wolf, and as a leader of the pack, I'm always scouring the countryside looking for food to feed your knowledge, your to supercharge your actions and scaling your business. Something about today, and we're going to talk about the tip as advertised in terms of a key to really being able to win the war for talent. Um, Something that kind of ties into that. Well, I think it does tie into that. Today, February 7th, in 1964, the Beatles landed in New York. I was wonder if at the time people had a sense of what was going to happen, how big of an impact that would have on the culture in America, entertainment, um, options that people perceive in their lives, in their paths, certainly in haircuts. There were a lot of Beatles haircuts going around after that. So they landed in New York to raving fans. 2 nights later, they were on the Ed Sullivan Show with 73 million viewers. Now, the population of the US at that time was 191 million. It's 73 million viewers. So that is just unbelievable. Take, for example, right now, currently in 2022, the Olympics are pulling about 10 million average based on numbers. The preliminary numbers were just published, some more, some less. So about 10 million. But the base for potential viewers is 328 million. Well, the population is 328 million. That's a big difference. And there was just a lot of focus on the Beatles at that time. Well, why? Well, they were already had a big fan base. Yes, there were fewer options in terms of what people could tune into on broadcast TV in 1974. So today, attention is scattered. So with the Olympics, there's more options. People can watch other things. There's more discussion about what's happening. There's a lot of discussion about the Beatles. Some thought they were great. Some thought they were going to destroy everything because of who they were, because the larger picture of rock and roll was still, not necessarily mainstream at the time. But it comes back to people have a lot more options. This ties into the war for talent because people that you're recruiting, they have a lot more options. They have a lot more options in terms of where to work, starting their own gig. It's easier than ever. They can go independent. The people that work for you, your top talent, you have the same problem, right? It's hard to attract, it's hard to keep because high performers, top performers have options. So one of the keys, and this is part 3, this is one of the top 3 things you can do is spiffs, awards, bonuses, prizes, acknowledgement. Now, that may sound simple on the surface. Are you doing that? How are your results? You getting the results that you want? Maybe, maybe not. What I've seen in a lot of companies, yeah, they do that, but sales organizations, that's something that has been long-standing, right? To incentives, especially cash incentives. But what about the rest of the workforce? Do you incentivize innovation? What do you do to incentivize that? Do you have a formal program for people to submit ideas and be awarded for those that are useful? A company I work for, they a number of years ago, they stopped their employee suggestion program, as they called it at the time, which dates me a little bit because we don't refer to it like that anymore because it's not really descriptive. Part of the problem is it's not descriptive of what the company wants. They didn't train people on what they wanted. They didn't coach them on what would be good ideas or not. And the complaint was from a few people that were responsible for reviewing them was going, yeah, most of this is useless. We're just wasting our time. We'll tell them what we need. It was really a bad move because there were a lot of talented people that had great ideas that as they see it, they could submit it. If it was a good suggestion, apply it. So here's the problem. What's the difference in impact on your company if you have a whole bunch of ideas, you get 100 suggestions and can only use 2 versus you get no suggestions? Think about that. Now, if you want to have a high performance work culture, if you want to keep top talent, you can't do that. Top talent needs to have a way to have input. You want their ideas, right? They're going to be tied in a lot more to what you're looking for than perhaps some of the other people in the company. However, to have a culture that supports making those kinds of recommendations, because as your company grows, some of the top talent, some of the best innovations have a tendency to get hidden. Things are a little bit more complicated. There's more moving parts. There's more layers for people to go through. More people that have to pass something along. This ties into performance management as well. Are you are you paying for their time? Are you buying their time so that you can have them come in, pay them by the hour, and tell them what to do? Are you buying results from very talented people that you're bringing in, or are you unleashing their talent so that you can achieve your objectives and you can build an organization that can do what it needs to do? Bigger your company gets, the more you scale it, the more you've got to have people that can step in and lead, and you need to step back and guide it. Tough transition. We'll talk about that more at another time. The point today is rewarding the right kind of behavior through awards, bonuses, even cash bonuses. A huge company that I worked for, one of the teams that I was on, which led to, it was a corporate level team, won their forget the title, it was the CEO or the president's award or the chairman's award. It was the highest level award. They had a whole system for awards. The highest level award you can win. It included a cash bonus. It included a flight to headquarters for a couple of days and dinner with the board of directors. It was pretty, it's pretty. So there's a lot of competition to win that, and plus they gave us these huge wooden plaques, so heavy I've never been able to mount it on a wall. I was afraid to tear and fall and break something or hurt somebody. But that was part of a whole system that at its apex had this thing and go, look, and we were acknowledged company wide. The whole team was acknowledged company wide, showed what people want and also who who the potentials were, because that created opportunities, right? Created an opportunity for me to start and lead another corporate level team that had a massive impact on the company over the years following that. And do you do that for your company? Here's something else to consider. We've been talking about millennials. Millennials are 35% of the workforce in general, possibly way more at your company, depending if you're a tech, if you're very tech centric, you may have an even higher percentage of that, and it's going to continue growing. This is also one of the key desires, key motivators, what millennials expect in a workplace. Well, it just happens to be a best practice for high performing work culture as well. It also, so that's the second thing. It helps you attract millennials and work with millennials more effectively that are on your team. Here's another thing to consider. Third thing is this is also a way that helps manage fixed costs. And think about that. Rewarding behavior, especially if there's financial rewards included, is a way to manage payroll, which is a fixed cost. Now, that doesn't mean you can underpay people. Top earners are going to expect top pay. You can't, if that is the only thing you have to compete on, how strong is your attraction to bring in, recruit the people that you need, the top performers? And how strong is it to hold top performers if that's the only thing you got? Plus, it's messing with your fixed costs. No matter what your sales are, payroll is something you got to make every week, every month, right? Big risk area. So if you can create a culture, so this is part of a larger picture of creating an overall culture where people want to come work for you because there's so much more going on, that they'll be willing to consider things other than just the paycheck, just the classic paycheck and benefits and performance bonus that you may be offering. So it's a way in an inflationary and uncertain time like we have right now. Inflation is with us. It's going to stay. A year ago, we were hearing from those that supposedly are in the know. The experts are saying, no, it's just going to be transitory. The Federal Reserve, this is just going to be transitory. Federal government, this is just going to be transitory. Guess what? Top CEOs or the 2022 CEO surveys are out. And one of the things that's being considered is a third to over half of CEOs are expecting inflation to be a problem, a variable, through 2022, significant percentage through 2023. So it's you already know this, right? I mean that this was just a bunch of posturing by the experts to you know giving them the benefit of the doubt. They don't the perception has a lot to do with how the overall economy runs. So if there's a lot of fear over interest, people will start hunker down and start conserving money. They're conserving their cash, spending less, especially on the consumer side. Problem is it's with us here in at the raw materials and wholesale price level. It's really been ridiculous. It's been, some estimates show as high as 22% down in the supply chain that hasn't bubbled up to the top yet. So controlling costs is something, and not being penny wise and pound foolish. Strategies that help you control fixed costs are paramount right now. And again, so this is the third benefit from this best practice. Helps you control costs by being able to bring in top talent, be able to hold on to top talent by providing them more than just the classic paycheck plus benefits plus bonus. Right? If they're performing, they can earn a lot more, and it's outside beyond what would classically be considered the compensation plan. Innovate in your compensation plan. This also ties into coaching. If you have a coaching environment, which we talked about last episode, that's one of the top three strategies for war on talent, high performance culture, but also it's one of the top three for millennials, what millennials are looking for in the workplace. So to be able to attract the go-getters that are in the millennial generation, to be able to hold on to your top talent, your top producers, your best people that are in that age group, that's one of the things to do. So if you have a coaching environment that sets up a process for being able to very effectively implement having more rewards that are say not off the books, that's not the right way to put it, but that are variable in your cost structure because they need to do certain things. Then you can leverage what we talked about in terms of the number one, which was the why. If you put together a strong why, strong mission, coaching and training in the environment, and great incentives beyond what's classically taught. When you really work to throughout the entire organization, not just sales, not just management, where it's like, oh no, if they hit certain cost and revenue and other goals, they get a bonus at the end of the year. None of this annual. We'll talk about annual reviews in a future because that's a pet peeve of mine, and also is affected by best practices. But if you tie that in with throughout the organization, incentives for people to do the best, to incentivize the behavior that you want, to bring out the best in people, to get them talking about innovation, to look for ways to do things better, to share what they're seeing, to get feedback on a regular basis in order to manage that. So you've got some coaching and training going. So you help them build the habits that you need them to have for learning, for running the process that you have them responsible for just not just getting results, but going beyond and applying all their talent to it. Then you're beginning to develop a high performance work culture, and it's a place that people want to work. So it'll be harder for competition to steal away your best people, and it'll be easier for you to recruit the top people, the top talent, the top performers that you need in order to be able to scale your business up. So that's the quick tip for today. And thanks for being part of Wolf's Watch. I'm Wolf. Look forward to seeing you on the trail.